Hello and welcome to this tutorial and introduction to LanSchool. LanSchool is an application or program that you can load on your teacher desktop to monitor students that are using Chromebooks in the Lee County school system. And it only works for Chromebooks at this time. It will not monitor students that are logged into desktops or into their personal device, but you can monitor and see what it is they're doing on the Chromebook. And so I'm going to walk you through how to put it on your desktop as well as how to utilize the program and load students into your classes. So, first thing you're going to want to do is you'll look for an icon on your desktop when you log in. If a teacher has to log into the desktop, and you'll see an icon that looks kind of like this one. It'll say install LanSchool on this machine, something like that. I don't have it on this desktop to show you because I've already installed it here. But you'll click on that, and the first thing it's going to give you is a warning that this program, if you install it on a desktop that is used regularly by students, they will have access to the LanSchool console as well. So you want to be sure and consider that when you're picking the desktop you're going to put it on. If you have a designated teacher machine, that's the one you want to put it on. But if students use it sometime, you want to keep a close eye on them while they're using it and make sure that they are not accessing the teacher console. If you're in a lab where other teachers may or may not know you don't have a designated teacher computer, you definitely want to be careful about putting it there and consider that. So you'll finish the install process. It only takes a couple of minutes. It doesn't take very long at all. And once you've done that, I've pinned it to the taskbar by right clicking on it, and you can put pin to the taskbar and it'll be there. But if you click in the bottom right hand corner in this little arrow, the logo is there. You click on that and that will open up the LanSchool Teacher console. So this LanSchool Teacher console is where you would normally view your students, but you have to go through a couple steps before you can do that. And so I'm going to walk you through that process. The first thing you're going to do is go up to Administer, click on One-to-One, and then Manage Class List. And so here you could, if you wanted to, type in the student login name for all your students individually. That would take a long time. So got a little easier process than that. And so you'll click on Import Students, and then on the left side, you may have to reveal that. Under Computer, you'll click on the Curriculum Drive or U Drive, and that will take you to another folder, the U Drive, and you can scroll down to the LanSchool folder, double click on that, and that will bring up a list of schools. You'll pick your school, and I'll pick Sanford Middle School just for an example, and then you pick your name. So we'll pick Miss Bailey's name. And so if I double click her first period class, and she teaches all the same subject, so I'll click on her first period class, and that loads her 22 students usernames from her first period class. And so to save those as a class for LanSchool, I'll click on Save As at the bottom, and I'll name that First Period Math. And if you want to put a date, however you want to name it, it's fine. But I'm going to want to save that back in my H drive, not on the U drive. Don't leave it there. I want to save that in my H drive, which is your Documents folder. If you want to put a folder within your H drive, you may do that, but I'm going to save that there just like that. And so again, I will need to do that for all of my classes. And so I did that for first period. So I'll close that, go back up to Administer, One-to-One, Manage Class List, Import Students, and click on the U drive and the LanSchool folder. Now, if you do this and you don't have anything in your folder, so say you click on Sanford Middle School and you click on your name and there's nothing there, be sure that you have this little box right here. Be sure that it is either .csv files or just go ahead and click on all files, and it will show you, regardless of whatever type of file it is, all the files that are in there. By default, some computers will go to a specific type of file and it will not be there like it's supposed to be. So if you be sure and select this as all files, and that should show you whatever you've got there. And so again, select your next class. And so this is her third period with 23 students, and so Save As. I'll name that Third Period Math, and the year just like I did the other one. Again, I want to put that in my H drive, not in my U drive, not in my C drive, in my H drive, and save that. And so then I can close that. And so then to load a class, so I've got a couple classes in here, and so then to load a class, I'll go up to Administer, One-to-One, and then Load Class List. And so I can select, I'll go into my H drive where I saved mine, and down at the bottom I've got my first period math class, my third period math class, and I can switch between those just like that. And so for examples, or just for an example, so I'll load Miss Bailey's first period class very quickly here, and that shows her 22 students from her first period class, and none of them are logged into a Chromebook right now. It doesn't appear, and so if I get done with this class and switch to the next class, then I can click on one-to-one or scroll over one-to-one and dismiss current class. And so remember that this is going to show these students regardless of if I say they're in my class and load them into my teacher console. It's going to show those students regardless of whether they're physically in my classroom or if they're on one of my Chromebooks. If I've borrowed a couple other teachers' Chromebooks, if they're loaded into a Chromebook on the LeetCode network, it will show them if they are loaded into my class list. And so that will allow me to view them regardless of whether or not they have my Chromebooks or whether they're physically in my classroom. And so it allows me to monitor them. So what I'm going to do, just for example purposes, I'm going to click on one-to-one. I'm going to load a class list that I did for a test, and I've got just a couple of students in this class. But one of them is a first grader from Beauregard Elementary, so I'm not going to mess up his school day if he's logged into a Chromebook, which he shouldn't be, and that's why I chose him. Mr. Carpenter here, and Mr. Carpenter is obviously very diligently working on his Google Doc, and so these other two students that I have here are not logged into a machine. That's why that shows them as missing. They're not physically missing my class. They're just not logged into a Chromebook. And so I want to show you a couple of the features of LanSchool here and what the Chromebooks can do. And so if you have your students here and the ones that are logged in, you'll be able to see their desktop icon, actively view their desktop here. And there's a little bit of a delay, but it's not too bad. And so just one thing to note is when students log into their Chromebooks now, they should get a message like this one. It looks like this. It asks them to share their screen as a LanSchool student, and they have to physically click that and say share. If they do not do that, then you will not be able to see them in your teacher console. It'll look just like this right here. So you need to pay attention to who is logged in, and if they refuse that, then in order to share their screen after they've refused it initially, they will have to log out and log back into their Chromebook. Also, I'm going to blow up Mr. Carpenter's screen here. Notice it says right here, I'm looking at his screen only. It says on his screen, the LanSchool Teacher is actively viewing your screen. And so Mr. Carpenter, if that makes him nervous, has the option to go down here to the Start menu and go up to Stop and keep me from viewing his screen. And that will cut off LanSchool on his machine. And if he does that again, it will show up just like this. And so just keep that in mind. Students can refuse that. They have to give you permission to view their screen. And so that's just something to think about, something to consider. And so if you have students here, the main benefit of LanSchool, or a big benefit, I don't know if it's the main, but a big benefit is that you can view students working without actively having to see every screen at all times if you can see your desktop. And again, we know there are limitations that you're not anchored to your desktop all the time and you're walking around. So if you can mirror your device with the unified remote, that will work. And there are some other options out there that we're working on, so hopefully that'll become available. But if you are at your desktop, or if you have your desktop, you can see it. I had one teacher suggest possibly putting what you have on your desktop up on the screen if you're not doing anything else with it, so you can see that from anywhere in the room. That is an option. But if Mr. Carpenter gets distracted during class and decides he wants to go to say ESPN and check out the scores of the game, you can quickly. Right now, you see that he is working on his Google Doc, but oh wait, he's not where he's supposed to be. He's off task a little bit, or if he's searching for his first car, even though he's in first grade, you can see that. And so what you can do, you have some options here. And so what you can do for all of your students, if you want to, if you don't highlight and select all your students, if you want to just select him, you can send a message to him. If you want to send it, type here, you can say get back on task. If you send that like that, it will pop up in the bottom right hand corner. I'll click on his screen so you can see what that looks like to him. And so it says it very, very small in the bottom right hand corner. However, if you choose to send him a message that is, and you click here where it says for student to read this message, then that will pop up in the middle of his screen. And so I'll blow that up so you can see that as well. And so nice and large in the middle there, it'd really be hard for him to miss that. And so that's a nice way to do that. If you want to simply message the students and then click control to get out of full screen again. Notice how I'm doing that. If I want to chat with that student, I can click here and he can converse back and forth with me. If you want to ask him what are you doing, then he has the option to respond to me. Research for my paper. And so he can respond to me and tell me that. And so if you have a question about that, and that way you're not embarrassing him, you're not creating a situation. And so then he can go back to his Google Doc and you won't wonder what it is he's doing. If you want to speak to the class and you don't want to wonder what it is they're doing on their machines, you can click here to blank screen. And so if you don't have anybody highlighted, again, it will blank all the students. You can get rid of that message if that's annoying to you. But if you click continue, it's going to blank their screen like this, and you can select to have a custom message. So right now it says, by default, it will say eyes to the front of the classroom, please. You can change that under configure blank screen, and that will allow you to change that to whatever if you want eyes on teacher, whatever you want. Notice the sound effect here. That's going to become important there. If you uncheck that box, that's important. To undo the blank screen, click on that again, and that will unblank their screens. If I want to share my screen with my students, I can come up to the top here and show teacher screen to students. Again, if I don't have one selected, I can click that and it'll show it to all three, and it'll make that noise. Now if you had unchecked that box about the sound, it wouldn't do that. But you want to, if you don't care, just be aware that if your speakers are turned up the first time you do that, it's really going to scare everybody because it's rather loud. And then uncheck that to unshow them. Same thing for if I want to show my screen to or show Mr. Carpenter's screen to everybody. I can click on him and then show student, and that will share everybody's screen, his screen, with the other students in the class, and they will all see whatever he is seeing. And so if they've got this cool way to share whatever a student's doing with everyone else. A couple more quick cool features of LanSchool. If I want to do a quick class poll or a formative assessment, I can type in a question here under vote, type in a question here, true false question or multiple choice question, and they can respond with their answer very quickly. See nice numbers there, percents of students that have voted, then which ones chose which, and so that's a neat little tool there. And the other neat feature of LanSchool is if you have a bunch of students that are using Chromebooks, I'll click on Mr. Carpenter again one more time to show you what that would look like for him. If he has this little icon down here when he's using LanSchool that he can click on and select ask a question, and he can ask about whatever he's doing. So where do I put the salutation? And send that to you. And so he's working on a letter there, and so if he sends that letter to me or that question to me, then I can see the questions that he's asked, and I can see, if I have a bunch of students, that's really important because I can see the order they came in and answer them in order. It will pop up this little question mark here to show me that they've asked a question, and if I scroll over, it shows me the question. And so if I want to get rid of that question, I can chat with him, I can send him a message, however I want to do that. If I want to get in the Google Doc and collaborate with him, that's one way to do it. But here I clear student question or alert, and that'll go away, and then X that box. And so it's a neat little tool. Now, real quick, if you want to dismiss this class, say first period's over and you want to go to your next class, what you do is go back up to administer one-to-one and then dismiss current class. And those students will be cleared out of your teacher classroom, out of your teacher console, and then you would go back up to administer one-to-one load class list. And so there you should have all your classes listed again, and you can switch to a different class and view those students that are in that class period. So I hope this tutorial has been helpful to you. LanSchool is a pretty cool program, very useful. It's got some useful features to it, and I hope that you found this to be beneficial in helping you use it. I hope you enjoy and have a good day. Thanks.